on a live stream.
Yeah, Ryan, would you beg to differ on this one?
I do beg to differ. He's definitely
Ryan-
said something that the FCC would not consider appropriate for its
You
airwaves.
can shut up.
Oh,
That is
cool.
probably bordering on inappropriate.
It's bordering. It isn't inappropriate. It's bordering.
That would depend on who you ask.
Well,
He's good.
our audience is
Our audience, we put specifically not for kids on every video we make.
Well, that's a relief.
well. If it's made for kids, then it's only going to be shown to kids. So, but kids
Yeah,
can
no,
still watch it.
yeah. All right. Let's Buckeyes.
Oh,
YouTube
shoot.
really just makes it hard to publish videos these days.
Okay, it's up, boys. Oh, look, that's a beautiful thumbnail. Okay, now to live stream. There we go. Here we go. Change thumbnail. I changed it to the March Madness logo. And it's not for kids. All right, cool. All right, we're live. So I'm gonna put everyone like story the link and let's get it rolling.
And remember, we get sued every time you say a bad word. So.
That's not true. That's fake news. Joe Kane and I would have both been bankrupt by now if that were the case. All right, smile for Snapchat.
No.
Joe Kane, why do you refuse to smile for the camera?
I smiling shows submission. So
Oh! Woo! Woo!
Oh, okay.
So many like mindless, careless, casual passes that have been either intercepted or nearly intercepted this week.
Yeah, college kids.
Especially inbounds passes. That wasn't, but that's why I've
Oh,
noticed.
yeah,
it
that was
rather.
bad.
Oh!
3. Okay. Oh, wait, you guys might be ahead of me. Oh, they just called timeout. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm
Do we want to get it started? And tell Cole to come on when he can?
yeah,
Yes.
probably.
All right.
I'm
Hello,
just waiting
everyone.
for Ken Palm to update right now before
Yeah.
I can run stuff.
dude, Kim Pom doesn't update. What are you talking about?
Shh. Just basically need to wait for the game to end. So
Yeah.
I've honestly stopped using Ken Pom as a man of math and all that. I hate it.
Why?
What do you have against my man Ken Palm?
I have nothing against him. Okay.
Ken
I have
Palm,
a thing against
he
his
is just
math,
a man of math.
Okay.
is math too complicated for you?
No, it's not. It's not complicated enough.
What? So
Yeah. First
Sure.
of all, I don't like the whole luck rating, honestly. Because that I really just don't get. But everything else I do. But it's so like simplistic for like adjusted offense, adjusted defense. And
I love this inbounds play. Love it.
Oh, yeah, the home run. It's like a football play.
The football play. I call it the 4 verticals football play.
There you go. Got it in. They fell him. All right, cool. I'm gonna just start it up and we can talk. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the Goldmine Live Selection Sunday special. I'm here, Sam Goldfarb with Joe Kane, of course, Ryan Eisner and Drew Beamer from Davidson Decoded, Cole Vulpes from Lux's Litter Box should be coming shortly. That's a great podcast name. But yeah, right now we're waiting for this Illinois game to end. It's been taking forever, but we're gonna break down the bracket when it comes out. I'll be like your resident Greg Gumbel, and then these three will be like the analysts. And so the way we're going to do this is between like breaks of every like 2 games that get released. I'll let one of you guys talk. So we'll go Ryan, then Drew, then Joe. And then at the end of like a full bracket, like a full 16-team bracket, we're gonna let all of us kind of talk free flowingly. So that should be all set. Right now, Illinois is up 4 with 14 seconds left. They look on pace for a 1 seed. Ohio State looks on pace for a 2. Ryan, I'm gonna ask you now. The bubble, how has it clarified over the past couple weeks or a couple days, I should ask?
It's not clarified really at all. It's on the exact opposite with the bid thieves. Georgetown, you better believe MSG Security knows who Patrick Ewing is now. Oregon State out of nowhere to win the Pac-12 tournament. And so for me, Wichita State and Colorado State unfortunately lost their bids as a result, but we'll see who's out when we see the bracket soon. There's a chance that Colorado losing cost Colorado State their bid, and Georgetown winning maybe take Syracuse out, or Creighton losing cost former Missouri Valley rival Wichita State their bid. So either way, there's going to be some inner fan base feuding, I'm sure.
Love to see that.
Love it. It's amazing. It's really lovely to behold.
Okay, so give me your thoughts on I can't remember. Did you just say you were last 4 in and first 4 out?
Okay, so last 4 in, it's going to be interesting to watch, but last 4 in, I've got UCLA, Syracuse, Drake, and Utah State. First 4 out, I've got Wichita State, Colorado State, St. Louis, and Ole Miss.
Okay, interesting. So that's yeah, I feel like that's about what a lot of people have, although obviously with the bid thieves things get messed up. What I'm trying to think now, what auto bid stealer was the most impactful in making that decision? Was it Oregon State's? Was it Georgetown's? Who really like messed up your bracket?
I mean, both were very impactful. I'm gonna be very interested to see where Georgetown and Oregon State are seated. We haven't really seen something like either one of them. People can say Oregon 2 years ago, but the closest thing I can think of to either one is Georgia in 2008 when they won the SEC tournament. For those who know, that was the year of the tornado in Atlanta for the SEC tournament, and they got a 14 seed. I don't think either one's going to be that low, but wouldn't shock me to see one of those two fall to the 13 line. So I think it could mess up something in terms of how some of these AQs are seeded.
Interesting decisions here. All right, Ryan, outside of that, who out of teams that were already going to the tournament before this week, what conference champion messed with your seeding the most? So not like a bid stealer, but someone you already had in who won their tournament. Did you have any?
Before they won their ACC tournament, I had Georgia Tech as around a 10, and some had them as an 11. But while they're not going to soar up to a 5 or a 6 or something like that, and I know the ACC was weak this year, I can't really, and no one can really in good faith have the ACC tournament winner as normal circumstances as it may be as that low of a seed. So Georgia Tech winning the ACC kind of threw things a little bit off because I moved them up to an 8. And some other teams, Virginia Tech had to move down. LSU, great performance in the SEC tournament, even though they lost, moved them up to 7. So teams like Virginia Tech that had really lengthy pauses, like Virginia Tech a few weeks ago, I had as a 5 or a 6 as Illinois just won the Big Ten tournament. Virginia Tech might be a 9 or a 10. Like the lengthy pauses are going to hurt some of these teams.
Yeah, and I guess the next thing I want to ask you here is looking at the A10 now. Obviously, Bonaventure wins today like a lot of people expected. And all of us can chime in on this because obviously we're an A10 school. We've seen these opponents. And St. Bonaventure, what did that win do for their seeding? Did that bump them up at all for you? And what about VCU, who's obviously kind of on the bubble but more safely in?
That didn't really change much. Maybe if VCU had won and St. Bonaventure had lost, I'd have swapped their seeds where VCU would have been a 9 and Bonaventure would have fallen to a 10, but I kept them where I had them as a result.
Awesome.
Of Bonaventure winning.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Any other key takeaways from this weekend you want to reference?
A lot of first-time bids this week. Hartford, Grand Canyon going to the dance for the first time. North Texas going for the first time in a long time. Drexel going for the first time in a long time. And here we go.
You're way ahead. The A10 tournament just ended, or the Big Ten tournament just ended for me.
It just ended for me too. Well,
Okay.
Ohio State just hit a meaningless 3 at the buzzer.
Perfect. Good. All right, so this just in, Illinois wins the Big Ten tournament. Welcome to everyone, our 6 viewers here on the Gold Mines live stream. We should have Cole and Sean joining later. They're trying to figure out how to get their selection show working and everything, so no worries there. Do you guys have any, Drew and Joe, do you guys have anything you want to add to our conversations about the bubble, about
I do.
conference tournaments in general?
When Ryan mentioned Hartford, you went like that, like you were a fan of them.
Hey, I'm from Connecticut, and
Can
UConn
you name a
sucks.
single player on that team?
Nope.
No? Okay. You got to make sure, you know.
I can name a player on UConn, though. James Bouknight, RJ Cole, Adama
I
Sanogo,
didn't ask you.
Tyler
did
Pauly,
I
Isaiah
didn't ask you
Whaley.
that, did I?
Yeah.
No, you were claiming to be a Hartford fan.
I'm not a Hartford fan. I'm just glad to see that there's a school not named
Mm-hmm.
UConn from Connecticut in the tournament. Because
Well,
I can actually root for them.
There could have been a couple there could have been more than that if the Ivy League played. Yale was going to be the favorite in the Ivy League.
Shout out to the Ivy League for canceling.
Let's not shout out the Ivy League for anything. They don't deserve our. They don't deserve any.
What's the opposite of a
appreciation or
shout out?
applause.
A public condemnation.
Okay, public
All out.
condemnation to the Ivy League.
All right, Drew. Do you have any other takeaways here? Joe had more of a comedic one. Why did my thing just CBS Sports HQ?
All I know is I would not want to be going up against Georgia Tech right now. That might be a hot take, but they took out Florida State in the ACC championship.
No, they're playing well.
Solid
They're playing
team.
well.
You
Ryan.
know, if
Ryan, did your thing cut to a CBS Sports HQ segment?
No, it did not. I'm in commercial right now.
Okay.
Same here.
me too.
Interesting. I don't know why mine just – maybe it's because I'm on a stream.
Yeah, and you're also, I think, on the website, maybe.
And I just kind of want to say I totally agree with Drew, especially if they get into the seed I have them in right now, which is 9. That 9-8 game always bet on 9 in my opinion, but
It's because your
They're
bracket
scared.
structure is messed up.
it's not messed up. Okay, you get double points for an upset,
Fair
and
enough.
that is an upset.
Fair enough.
So
Okay.
screw you.
All right, Joe Kane. We don't need to be cussing people out. Let's see.
It's
Why
not
is
cussing. It's just I've explained.
Here
this
we
so many times on the
go.
show.
All right, I
How
am
are
getting
you
my
so
thing
ahead-
pulled up.
far ahead?
March Madness live. The
I
selection.
am
watching
still
an
on a
Audi
commercial for an
commercial.
oil change. So
All right.
Oh
I'm-
yeah, I just had that. I'm on an
That
Audi
is the
Video
farthest
playback
thing
not
from a
supported
bracket
on this
reveal.
browser. What?
For the
Oh,
first
yeah,
time
here we
in
go.
2 years.
All right, Ryan. I might need you to lead me off here.
Here we go. First time in 2 years. We are about to find out a bracket. Let's go.
Okay, Ryan.
Two-
Give
reigning
me-
champions, Virginia. Let's not forget them.
Certainly not.
Yeah. Just a shout out to you, Ryan, because I know you're a huge Virginia fan.
I sure am. I expect them to be around the 4 line.
I expect them to not be in the tournament because they suck.
They'll be in the tournament, Joe.
No, I know. I mean, I honestly think
Joe
anyone from the
thinks he's
ACC
joking,
just-
but he's actually just,
I think anyone from the ACC this year I did not like. I was not. impressed by
I do
anyone.
not think the ACC is going to have a team in the second weekend. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
They might not.
Because Georgia Tech's going to have to play a 1 seed in the second round most
Why
likely.
is my stream not working? After all of this, you do this to me. I am actually livid. Okay.
Here we go. Here we go. It's happening. It's happening.
All right, Ryan's getting excited. Ryan, what are we looking at the moment?
All right. You'll never believe this. Gonzaga is a 1 seed.
And the number
Are
one
you
overall?
kidding me?
Yep. You will never believe that ever. I'm just, my mind is blown. I cannot believe what is going on right now. It's almost
have
like
them at a
Gonzaga has
seed.
been the best team in the country all year long.
Wow, revolutionary.
Yeah, and then they're gonna get a first round exit.
Okay, stop it.
Okay.
Stop it.
All right.
Oh,
Why is
I
my-
think Drew
okay.
They
will
will
agree with
play.
me on that.
Gonzaga will play the winner of the play-in game between Norfolk State and Appalachian State. I don't know why that play-in game is not playing Michigan. That seems like a wasted opportunity to me. If you know, you know.
Why? Oh, because you want the big upset. Why is
Okay,
my
I-
thing not working?
I
I'm
finally
actually
gonna
will
use
it.
have the region, so that's good.
All right, Ryan, what else you got?
The 8th seed is Oklahoma. So that's a
Oklahoma
little
and
lower
Nathan
than I
Nathan,
had
they
them, but I'm
dropped.
not shocked.
They drop after the Kansas loss.
Yeah. The 9 seed is Missouri. Again, a little lower than I had them, but not shocked overall.
Okay.
And neither one of them is going to be a threat to Gonzaga.
Yeah, I don't see that being much of an issue.
You need me to keep going?
Yes.
My answer definitely would have
Right.
been different. Like
The
earlier
5
this
seed
season.
in that region is the Creighton Blue Jays.
Really, I feel like that's high after what happened to them last night.
Oh, they have a dangerous 12th seed, the Gauchos of UC Santa Barbara.
I might pick that
first-
upset.
First upset pick. And Virginia appears as the 4 seed in Gonzaga's region, assuring them of no deeper than a Sweet 16 run, which even that I highly doubt. And oh no. They're going to take on the Ohio Bobcats, led by a player whose name you need to know if you haven't heard. Jason Preston was unbelievable in a 2-point loss at Illinois earlier this year.
All right, mine's up. Ryan, thank you for covering that. So we look at the top half of the bracket. We're moving down. USC is the
Frank!
6th at 22-7. Ryan, I know you're high on them. What are you thinking about that one?
About which one?
USC. They're
USC.
playing the winner of Wichita State and Drake. So there's your first bubble teams.
I think the winner of that one's going to win.
You do.
Is
You
going to
think
upset
that as well?
USC.
Okay, cool. And so that game is being played on Saturday. Of course, that's the second day of games. Kansas is the 3, despite their COVID concerns. They were playing better basketball at the end of the year. I think maybe a little overseeded. Maybe it's given the name brand we saw. They struggled with UTEP. They play Eastern Washington, who I've heard is dangerous, Ryan.
Yes, Eastern Washington is a dangerous 14th seed. They played some Pac-12 teams very tough earlier in the year, so could be interesting.
Perfect. And Oregon and VCU as a 10 seed are going to square off on Saturday. I feel like that's going to be an interesting matchup as well. Obviously, VCU falling to Bonaventure today, a little seeded higher than we thought. And Iowa, the 2 seed in that region with Gonzaga. They obviously played earlier in the year. Gonzaga won pretty handily. They won by double digits and controlled it the whole way. And we'll see who winds up being the 15. And then we'll hand it over to Joe, Drew, and everyone to break it down. They play Grand Canyon. Not the biggest walk in the park. If you don't know, Grand Canyon's been a dangerous team this year. Okay, so that is the first region of our bracket. So, Drew, I'm going to hand this to you now. What sticks out to you as you're looking at everything?
Well, that is the region that is going to have COVID issues, I think.
Because of Kansas?
That
Kansas and Virginia in the
Virginia.
same region. So, I
They
mean,
did that on purpose, I'm pretty sure, by the way. Because that's also a region that will be playing on Saturday and Monday. So it gives them an extra day. And I don't know about the rest of you, but Missouri as a 9 seed was a little interesting to me.
yeah,
I don't think they're that good, but I thought
I don't
a 9
either.
really low. A 9 is very low.
I
think
haven't
a
liked
9 is low.
Oklahoma
I had them
lately.
as a 7.
What'd you say, Drew?
I think I haven't liked Oklahoma lately. I think Missouri wins that first round,
I
gets
do
out in the
as well.
second.
yeah.
I think if there's any matchup
Oklahoma.
Missouri wanted in the first round, it is in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, yeah, agree.
All right, Joe, what are you thinking? Obviously, you don't get your Longhorns in there yet. You don't get your Red Raiders. You don't get your Bears. What are you thinking?
I think the Bears are safe on the one line. So, but I will say if the Longhorns aren't ranked higher than Oklahoma right now, then or aren't on a higher seed than Oklahoma, then
I don't think you have
and,
much risk of failing with that.
No, I know, but it's that whole rivalry aspect between the states.
Fair enough. Okay,
It's
Joe.
big. Yeah. I will say VCU, you said was kind of higher than we expected.
Yeah, I thought they'd be an 11.
I had them as a 10. And the other thing that stood out to me was that Wichita State getting in, to me, means that it's likely that Utah State is the team that's going to be left out because of the bid thieves. Wichita State and Drake both being in would heavily suggest that at the very least, it's got to be a Mountain West team that is going to be left out. And I'm going to guess that it's Utah State.
Really interesting. And do you think Drake deserved a bid?
Yes.
Like, straight up.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely, Drake deserved a bid. I get why not every mid-major with a gaudy record makes it, but I think to a certain degree, winning needs to be rewarded. Drake was able to get – now, I don't think Drake gets in if they don't win that second game against Loyola Chicago, but they got that second win. I think this team is very deserving. It's their first bid since 2008. I think this team's very deserving.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Drew, I don't know if you've had time to crunch the numbers yet, but what would you expect those numbers to look like for this region and who's likely to get out of it outside of maybe Gonzaga?
All the metrics I'm using, like Iowa, I think Iowa has upset potential over Gonzaga if it comes to that in the Elite Eight. I haven't really had time to process everything yet. I kind of need to wait till all four regions are done. But yeah, okay. That's kind of current situation.
That sounds fair. All right. Greg Gumbel's back on my screen. I'm going to wait for him to start this next region. You'd assume this will be the 4th overall, which, I mean, they're about to reveal it. My guess would be Michigan. It's Baylor. I guess they're doing the one on the opposite side of the bracket first.
2nd overall.
So Baylor's the 2nd overall seed, which might surprise some people given that Illinois won the Big Ten and was rolling, but Baylor obviously had a better record. Since COVID pause has been some issues, we will see now on the opposite side of the bracket who they'll take on as the 16 seed. It's going to be Hartford. So we got a little Texas-Connecticut action, Joe Kane. The Hawks are going to win. Absolutely. I'm kidding.
Dude, honestly, we were talking about this, the Bears and the Hawks. I was going to say this today. I mean, have you ever seen a bear and a hawk fight?
I haven't.
A bear's going to win.
All right, North Carolina and Wisconsin in the 8-9 game on Friday. You know, I think North Carolina beats Wisconsin, and that won't be the easiest matchup for a Baylor team that struggles on the defensive glass.
It will not.
Villanova, the 5 seed, whoever they're playing, I'm picking, and it looks like it's Winthrop. So Winthrop, I am taking them over Villanova. I don't think that's even a question at this point with the way
I'm taking Winthrop.
The way the Wildcats have been playing. And now in the 4-13 game, we have that coming up. Purdue as the 4. People
makes sense.
Purdue's flown under the radar all year. People don't realize Purdue's a really good basketball team. I think they fill in that 4 spot well. And they play North Texas. Came back to beat Western Kentucky yesterday. Ryan, what are you thinking about those 4?
I'm thinking we should probably not because they're not really pausing after the top half.
Fair enough. Texas Tech as the 6. We'll see who they take on. They play Friday. Texas Tech, obviously, and they get Utah State. So Ryan thought maybe they'd be excluded. They get in. That's really
it's got to be Colorado State then.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be. They beat them this week.
Yeah.
We'll see who they're playing when they reveal the 3-14 setup. And I think this could get interesting very fast. They play Arkansas as the 3. I've been on the bandwagon. They lost to Alabama, though. Things might get a bit nervy, and we'll see if Arkansas can get out of that, I think that's not the least – that's not the most disadvantaged situation. But they play Colgate, 14-1 team out of the Patriot League. Could be interesting matchup. I think I'd take Arkansas to get out of that little mini bracket. Texas Tech could make things messy, but Texas Tech hasn't been scoring the ball nearly well enough. Friday game 7-10. Florida as the 7. I think that is very overseeded for the Gators the way they've been playing lately. They're going to play. I'm waiting for it to reveal, but that's they play Virginia Tech.
I'm taking Virginia Tech.
I think I might as well, even though Virginia Tech was on and off against North Carolina, but I'll lean that way. Florida has not been playing good basketball. Ohio State as the 2 seed, they lose obviously just now to Illinois. Don't think that's too terrible a position for them, although playing Baylor would be a nightmare if they both sides manage to get there. And then the 15 they'll be taking on when we see it get pulled up. They win Oral Roberts, Joe Kane's favorite school. All right.
Oh my God, Ryan, I thought you were kidding. I didn't see that.
Take it away.
I'd say that Oral Roberts Ohio State game, Oral Roberts played Arkansas and Oklahoma State kind of tough earlier in this year. If you're looking for a 15-2 game that could be closer than you would think it should be, that's probably your bet. Oral Roberts Ohio State. Oral Roberts actually has the nation's leading scorer. So against an Ohio State team that, kind of thinks defense is optional at times, that could get a little bit interesting.
All right, what about you, Drew and Joe? Whoever wants to speak up next, go ahead.
Drew's got this.
All right, so in this region, I mean, the 5-12 Villanova, they're down Gillespie, if I'm remembering that correctly. I think Winthrop wins that one. We saw Villanova struggle in the Big East tournament without him. That's probably my most likely 5-12, followed by Creighton, UC Santa Barbara. I mean, I don't think there was any huge surprises in this region, though.
Yeah, I thought Utah State getting in was the big question. I know Lenardi actually had them just in as the last team in.
Yeah.
They skirt by that first 4 situation, which I think is a little intriguing. But it's weird. I think both 12 seeds could very well win those opening games.
Yeah, and Utah State not being in the first 4 is interesting. I mentioned Colorado State. Syracuse is also really nervous right now. Like, they might still get in, but this has not necessarily been the most ideal first 2 regions revealed for Syracuse.
Okay, Joe, you got anything to say here about your Bears region?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think there are going to be some upsets, especially on that top half of the of that region. In the future, for like if Ohio State and Arkansas, I would definitely want to watch that game.
Neither team really plays defense that well.
Exactly.
It'd be perfect.
Offense is flashy, man. And I would honestly consider taking Arkansas over Ohio State.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, I would as well.
Yeah. I think Baylor actually doesn't have that awful a region. I think outside of North Carolina in that first setup.
I think North Carolina could beat them if Baylor decides to just not even try on the defensive glass. I think North Carolina, if Baylor gets past North Carolina, I agree. But that North Carolina for an 8 seed is going to be really tough in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think, as we said, I think Carolina gets out of that first round matchup pretty comfortably.
Yes.
I think that, though, if they do, if Carolina plays on their game, that could get very messy for a Baylor team that, again, doesn't rebound well in the defensive glass.
And doesn't really play defense that well of late either.
We're back now. They got Gumbel, Kellogg, and Davis in the studio. Seth Davis, Virginia Sharpie, am I right?
I'm totally our Seth Davis here.
All right. Let's see what we got. 3rd overall seed, potentially.
So
that's what we're doing with
Illinois.
Illinois. Yeah. And that makes sense. Illinois just won the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They do have 6 seeds, 6 losses, which is more than anyone on the 1 line. But they beat Michigan recently handily, and they've been rolling of late. They're the 1 seed. They're busy cutting down the nets.
Yeah.
They don't even know who they're playing. And we're gonna see who the 16 is, who that winds up being, probably a play-in, unless Michigan gets it.
No.
Nope, they get Drexel.
Loyola-
12-7 out of the CAA. We thought they'd be a 15 or 16. Oral Roberts winds up getting that 15. That gets interesting here. And we'll see. The 8-9 will be intriguing. Illinois sometimes sleeps on defense, and their offense has been good enough to make up for it. But this could – okay, Loyola Chicago. That, the committee definitely did that for geographic reasons.
Yes.
I think Loyola Chicago might, as bad as it sounds, they might be
that's underseeded. Loyola.
Yeah, I think they're a 7, or they could be a 7 or even a 6.
Yeah.
They play Georgia Tech in what's going to be an absolute barn burner of a Friday matchup. I know I'll be glued to my TV for that one. That's going to be
sure.
I honestly
was
don't know
definitely
who
done
to pick in that
intentionally.
game.
Tennessee as the 5, another potentially vulnerable 5 seed. A lot of these 5 seeds are more vulnerable.
Very.
And Tennessee, sometimes when they fall asleep on offense, they play Oregon State, which Oregon State has been on a roll, but hasn't been the most consistent all year. I'm intrigued by that one. I don't know if I'm as intrigued as before. And then you get Oklahoma State as the 4. I know they were projected as a 3 in some brackets. Maybe that loss to Texas put them down a line. And this is a really good team led by Cade Cunningham, but they depend on him to at least generate a lot of offense. And they're playing Liberty. This is a matchup a lot of people projected. This could be dangerous for the Cowboys.
I don't know, Sam, but if Cade Cunningham doesn't show up, it's done.
I agree. And Liberty also shoots the 3 ball really well. San Diego State has a 6. I know they're good, but that definitely throws me off a little, given they were projected on 7 or 8 lines for most of it. And the 11 they get is going to intrigue me here, because obviously we still have Syracuse on the bubble. And we thought they'd be in, but things are getting a bit rough for them at the moment. They're playing Syracuse. Syracuse is into the field. Ryan, you called it right on that one. Man, he's gotten the bubble with unprecedented accuracy right now. Ryan Eisner, the bracketologist, is hitting the nail on the head. But a San Diego State-Syracuse game could get interesting. I might like Syracuse in that one. As strange as it sounds, San Diego State hasn't really played anybody really, really elite since potentially December, January. I know there's some decent competition in the Mountain West, but we'll see. Syracuse on that same 11 line as Utah State. West Virginia, the 3 seed in that region, obviously fell to Oklahoma State, and yet Oklahoma State's still below them, which intrigues me. They're playing Morehead State in the first round, and this gets interesting because while West Virginia is a good rebounding team, especially on offensive glass, they struggle defensively. Morehead State has that big and Broom who can really cause havoc, and you get Culver in foul trouble, and Morehead State could start to make this game really interesting. Clemson has a 7. I know Joe won't be liking that at all.
I don't.
They're playing Rutgers in a 7-10 game.
I'm taking Rutgers.
I might as well. It depends on which Rutgers shows up, though. Their offense is going to need to be at least semi on.
Honestly, these two teams kind of were disappointing all season.
Agreed. Houston has a 2 seed, 24-3. They won the AAC earlier today. Barely beat Memphis the other day. And the thing about Houston is they sometimes struggle to score the basketball efficiently. I don't know if I like them to get out of this region. They play Cleveland State. All right, Ryan, that's the 3rd region revealed. Anything big here? Obviously, Syracuse gets in. What are you thinking about?
I think it's a really bad job by the committee that Syracuse is not even in a first 4 game. But Syracuse gets a bye, I think, is absolutely disgraceful in my opinion. There's no way they should not be in a playing game.
What does that mean about Colorado State then?
They're out. I think they're out. There's one more region, and this last region will have another playing game, and maybe they're in that one, but it's not looking too good for Colorado State right now.
All right, Drew, what are you thinking about?
I'm a little disappointed with the 7 to 10 seeds in this region. We're going to get a really good matchup with the 8-9, and then the 7-10 is just going to be – it's 2 teams that I want to pick against, honestly. If Clemson got Loyola Chicago and Rutgers got Georgia Tech, I would be taking Loyola Chicago and Georgia Tech all the way. But instead, we're getting the two teams that I'm most disappointed with versus the two teams that I think could have upset potential in this region.
This take might get me on old takes exposed, but I think that Rutgers Clemson game is going to be one of the most boring games of the tournament.
Yep.
I think it's going to be super boring. It's going to be extremely boring. If you're looking to avoid a game, that's the game so far.
I think Houston will easily beat the winner of that one.
Yes, and the thing is, you could have had potential for a Loyola Chicago to potentially be a 7 in that region and give Houston a bit of trouble, or somebody who has some offensive potency and ability to play at Houston's like a slower pace and still win games efficiently. Instead, you give them Clemson and Rutgers. One team can't score, and the other team is kind of shaky on both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
Honestly, kind of wish that those two games had been swapped and it was the Loyola Chicago in the 7-10 game versus Georgia Tech in that game. Instead, we're going to have to see them go up against the 1 seed in the second round.
Yeah, they can't do Clemson, Georgia Tech in the first round. That's not allowed.
Yeah.
That's the mess about all this.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but we have not seen potential bracket buster UConn.
We have not. They'll be in that next region.
Bonnie's and UConn in the same region.
Bonnie's UConn Elite 8.
Bonnie's UConn.
Honestly.
Bonnie's UConn could very well be the 8-9 game in this upcoming.
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. I think the committee's wasting bracket busters by pitting them against each other.
Yeah.
Because I think Loyola Chicago, obviously we've seen what they did 3 years ago, but you pit them against Georgia Tech, a team that's one of the hottest teams in America right now.
But honestly, that's better than what they used to do, which is they would have had mid-majors against each other in Loyola Chicago and St. Bonaventure in an 8-9 first-round game.
That would have been even worse.
That's what they've done in the past.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting how everything unfolds in this last region. And, of course, there's still a few teams on the bubble. Ryan, what have you not seen yet? Like, what teams on the bubble?
UCLA.
Yeah, UCLA, that's an interesting one because they were last 4 buys. And, I mean, like, that could get very, very, very close.
Dicey. Yes, those are two programs that are very worried right now.
I just filled in Michigan for the last 1 seed. I haven't even seen it yet, but
it is Michigan.
I mean, it's got to happen.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
It was secretly leaked to me beforehand like it was 5 years ago. They should have just leaked it early again.
Like Woj?
No,
in the draft. All right, here we go. They're about to reveal the 4th and final number 1 seed. It is Michigan. Of course,
Shocker.
They fell to Ohio State yesterday. Almost came back. Ohio State really tried to choke that game away. But ultimately, they give that 4th overall seed to Michigan. No surprises there, and we'll see who they will play. Unfortunately, it won't be an Appalachian State.
No, unfortunately.
It's Mount St. Mary's or Texas Southern, two teams that low-key snatched bids. I know Mount St. Mary's was right around the top of the Northeast Conference.
Whoa, no.
Texas Southern in the SWAC.
Ooh, interesting.
And they got an 8-9 coming up. It seems like Ryan's already seen it because his stream is ahead, so we'll wait for it to pop up before we announce it. But, yeah, Mount St. Mary's and Texas Southern, winner plays Michigan. Don't think that's going to cause the Wolverines too many issues. LSU is an 8. Really?
They're underseeded. They should be closer to a 6.
I know they can't defend, but that's a little low for them.
That's ridiculous.
And we'll
I
see.
would put them at a 7.
If it's Bonaventure, that could be a really good matchup.
If that's Bonaventure, we might have an insane game. We'll see who pops up. The 8 seed LSU. Really surprising us here in that 4th region. A few shockers. It's St. Bonaventure.
Oh, my God.
My God.
Lunardi got a match right.
All right, so here's the deal, guys. If you want a game to avoid, it's Clemson Rutgers. If you want a game to watch, it's this one. LSU St. Bonaventure. LSU can't really defend. Bonaventure can, but sometimes struggles on offense. But Bonaventure also had some firepower today in the A-10 championship. Colorado as the 5 seed. They're playing Georgetown. Colorado lost to Oregon State last night. A fellow bid stealer. I think I lean Colorado in that game, but Georgetown.
I lean Georgetown.
Georgetown's been on fire recently.
I lean Georgetown.
Georgetown's hot.
They are on fire, and Colorado sometimes will, on offense, just go MIA. McKinley Wright's obviously a phenomenal point guard. They've got good pieces. Florida State as the 4 over there. Lost the ACC championship game to Georgia Tech. They've been solid all year. Scotty Barnes is an NBA prospect. Of course, Raekwon Gray as well, pretty solid player. We'll see who they get as a 13. We've got some interesting options here in the 13 spot. Very, very good top half of this bracket, if I do say so myself. It's UNC Greensboro. That gets messy.
That's a tough draw for Florida State.
Very tough draw.
Yeah.
UNC Greensboro's been balling. BYU, our favorite Mormon institution, as the 6th. And this year they have not suspended any of their star players.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, they did that in 2011 when they were really, really good. Michigan State or UCLA in the first 4?
Jeez.
Ryan, we're going to come back to you on that one in a second. That seems ridiculous
That's
to me.
interesting.
That seems absurd to me. But we have 2 blue bloods get in.
Yeah, UCLA wasn't the shock. I thought Michigan State would have gotten a bye.
Yes, I thought UCLA would wind up on the 10 line from what I'd been reading.
Nah, UCLA has that loss to Oregon State definitely bumped them down.
They're one of the last 4 in. So that's it poses an interesting question about Louisville, as Texas is the
maybe
3.
Louisville's the 10 here.
It's either they're the 10 or they're not in.
Yeah, they're either the 10 or I have to think they're the 10.
And you get Texan and Abilene Christian.
No, look.
Texas and Abilene Christian as
Ryan did not sound happy about that.
I think Abilene Christian has been balling out at the moment. UConn as the 7. Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no. Oh no. Whoever the 2, and they play Maryland. Well, that's UConn's winning that.
Louisville is out.
Louisville is out of the
Oh
tournament.
my goodness. I did not see this. There's usually a surprise exclusion every year. It's Louisville this year. Did not see that one coming.
Alabama gets the 2. Okay. Here's what I'll say on this. I think UConn's a Sweet 16 team this year. Iona, Rick Pitino, coaching against Alabama in his tournament debut with the Gales in his first season. This is interesting. This bracket is
Here are the replacement teams up now.
All right, so
No
Big Ten
Duke.
gets 9.
I'll spoil it. No Duke.
No Duke as a replacement team.
Louisville, Colorado State, St. Louis, and Ole Miss are the replacement teams. Duke can take their plans of playing in the NCAA tournament and forget about it.
Wow.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but the teams on standby are the first seed, number 1 seeds in the NIT.
Yes, that is correct.
As of now, but now if Kansas or Virginia has to go out, you're seeing Louisville and Colorado State pop in. So the A-10 gets 2 bids this year.
Yep.
All right, the full bracket is out.
Potentially 3, Sam. Potentially 3.
Yeah, it would appear that Oregon State's win over Colorado last night knocked out Louisville, and Georgetown's surprise run in the Big East tournament knocked out Colorado State.
Wild. So the last 4 in as follows: Michigan State, UCLA, Wichita State gets in, and so does Drake. And then out, we have Louisville, Colorado State, SLU, and Ole Miss.
Can't wait for angry Power Conference snob Louisville fans to start crying on Twitter this evening. It's gonna make my day. Oh, I cannot wait.
Also, all I gotta say to them is you shouldn't have lost to Duke.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have lost to Duke, especially when one of them was playing with COVID. That'll do it. Okay, so
I don't know. I got some questions for these guys.
Yeah, it's been an interesting bracket. Ryan, what are the biggest things that kind of threw you off?
I think the biggest takeaway is that the committee just did not think very highly of the ACC this year, which is not that surprising to me at all. No team better than a 4 seed. Louisville, who most of us thought were relatively safe and fairly decent position, missing the tournament entirely. That's one thing that stands out to me. I think Gonzaga has a very easy path to the Final Four.
I think that region could have been significantly harder, and the committee just didn't make it as hard as it could have been.
Well, the number 1 overall seed is supposed to have the easiest region.
Yeah, I mean, like they've already beaten Iowa, And yes, Iowa's playing decent
And they've
basketball.
already beaten Virginia too.
They've already beaten Virginia, who might not even make it there.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they will.
And
I
then,
think Ohio might beat Virginia, to be honest.
yeah, there's like so much going on with that. There's a lot about this, and for me, it's like, look, you could have given look, Houston, I don't think would have been that brutal like a matchup, but it could have been worse than Iowa for me, and this is because the way Houston plays. This is this bracket is wonky. Then it's a bit wonky to say the least. And I guess that's what we should have expected.
Yeah. Also, Rick Pitino in the field, Louisville not in the field. Do with that what you will.
I think we know who wins.
I got a question for all of you. We got 4 regions, and I got thoughts on each of them. But what do you guys think? Which one do you think is the best region to watch right now?
I had to pull up the full bracket again.
The fact that you don't have it up is insane.
Well, yeah, it hadn't popped up for me yet.
I'm just going to start out and say the East for me. Like, I hate how you have a lot of, bracket busters in there, but the East region, I think, has some of the best games to watch. And
yeah.
I think there's some good matchups in the Midwest too. I mean, those top 4 seeds we've seen West Virginia and Oklahoma State go at it in a few close games already this year. I could see Illinois getting upset before. But my 2 easiest seeds to upset in this number 1 seeds are probably Michigan and Baylor, followed by Illinois and then Gonzaga.
Yeah, I agree. I think Michigan could have a tough Sweet 16 matchup with Florida State if they get that far. We talked about Baylor and North Carolina. I think that winner of Loyola Chicago, Georgia Tech is going to give Illinois a really tough game.
Yeah,
Yeah, see, I think Gonzaga, this might come back to bite me, but I was talking to Joe on the phone earlier this week, and I was like, yeah, there's going to be somebody in Gonzaga's region that is a roadblock. I just don't see one. Like,
yeah,
I'm not no faith in Creighton. I don't have faith in Creighton to win a game.
I think Kansas maybe could be the roadblock, but
I don't even know if Kansas gets
they
it.
might not make the tournament.
no, I'm pretty sure they're confident that they're going to play.
But even if they do play, yes, I think they get to the Sweet 16, and I think then that game with Iowa is no walk in the park. I think you could say, yeah, I think they'll win that, but I just don't see how they trip up Gonzaga much, especially given that they played. And yes, they played in the first game of the year, but I just don't think that Kansas has the firepower to beat Gonzaga. Defensively, they're good. Offensively, they sometimes just fade.
Yeah, for me personally, I mean, I've been saying this. I agree. I mean, they could have had a roadblock, and I don't see one. But I'm not going to say that it seemed like Iowa or Kansas can't still be that roadblock. Like I've said it, Gonzaga's got into a bad habit in their conference, and I think that it might go away, like during March, but I just need to see it in the first few rounds. And if they do play Kansas or Iowa, and I haven't seen it yet, then I think like there could be upset potential there.
All right, what is your so we talked? Drew alluded to this, but what number 1 seed now after you've seen the bracket are you saying could lose in the first weekend? Most likely,
Michigan.
Michigan.
They've got an injury problem, and they're going to have to go up against LSU or Urbana if they win in the round of 64. So it's them or Illinois for me.
I think it's
maybe Baylor too.
Them or Baylor for me. I think Baylor. I think Baylor and North Carolina. If North Carolina plays up to scratch, could get very messy.
That's my problem with North Carolina, though. Like
they're inconsistent.
Yeah. I think it's definitely hard to say Baylor for me. But Michigan definitely. Like
that Bonnet game would be tough.
Yeah, one thing worth mentioning about Louisville missing the tournament is the chair of the selection committee this year happens to be the athletic director at Kentucky.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Do you think the committee made the right decision by leaving Louisville out?
Yes.
Yes.
If I would put them in, I'd put them in over Wichita State.
I'd have them in over Wichita State as well.
I'd have them in over Wichita, but like I'm not complaining too much. I don't think it was that egregious of a snub. No.
I think, and also the way Louisville ended the season was egregious.
I also
Yeah.
I'm saying yes because I really don't care because they aren't going to make it that far anyway.
Yeah, they were not playing good basketball.
Yeah, I mean,
their best wins are literally what? Duke, Virginia Tech. They even beat Virginia Tech.
Louisville beat Virginia Tech earlier in the season.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Duke and Virginia Tech are literally their best wins.
Yeah.
Wichita State has Houston, which is the best win out of all of them. But outside of that, they obviously probably have some pretty bad losses. I think you can go either way with it. It's wonky. Now, the other thing I want to note, I remember Ryan said this. He told me he thought that USC was going to get upset by the winner of Wichita State or Drake. So, Ryan, and all of you guys, I want you to weigh in on this game specifically. And more generally, what play-in game team do you have going the furthest? And Ryan, in this 6-11 game specifically, which team do you have upsetting USC and why?
Which playing team I think is going to go the farthest is Michigan State. This is what they do under Tom Izzo. They make March runs. So I think Michigan State beats UCLA, and I think they can go on a bit of a run. As for which team upsets USC, I think the key to the Drake-Wichita State game is whether Drake gets Shaquan Hemphill back. If they have him back, I think they squeak it out. If not, I think Wichita State wins, and then I think they give USC a lot of problems and even pull the upset there.
There you go. Do you think USC has any potential to go decently far in this tournament?
They have a pretty likely high NBA draft pick in Evan Mobley, so I think if they're able to get past the first round game, I think there is potential for them to make a dark horse run. Yes.
Awesome. What about you guys? Looking at double-digit seeds here, specifically from the playing game, what teams or what double-digit seeds are you putting your faith in? Because obviously, I think the stat was like at least one team from the first four had made the second round the last few years. And obviously, I think the 16 seeds are harder to bet on. So out of the four, Michigan State, UCLA, Wichita State, or Drake, which ones are you saying yes? Like those, that's the ride or die for me. I lean with Ryan on this one.
If I had to pick, I'd go with Michigan State. I think Drake could surprise us, but I would not bet money on that.
Especially with the injury concerns. Penn's obviously after the year.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe?
Just to be like, I do think Michigan State is the correct answer, but just to be a bit different, I'm gonna go oh my God, Wichita State. Sorry, I couldn't say that word for some reason. I think Wichita State. Now I'm going to change it because I can't say that school for some reason. I'm going to say Drake.
Drizzy.
Yeah. I think they could definitely pull off an upset and make it to the second round.
I mean, yeah, they've been playing good basketball at the start of the year.
Yeah, but I don't. It's harder after the second round. Honestly, or obviously, because they're going to be playing a better team.
Well, yeah, that's how the tournament works.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay,
guys, I want to know who is your biggest Cinderella candidate. Which lower seeded team is most likely to go to the second weekend or Final Four?
I'm gonna go. Either Winthrop or I'm going to go Loyola Chicago or Winthrop.
Okay. Well, what about you guys?
UConn.
Yeah, I think that's definitely my dark horse Final Four team. I think Alabama's not a bad matchup for them.
And I'm honestly going to keep it in. I'm going to keep it in the A10. I could see St. Bonaventure going further than people will expect.
Yeah, I mean they'll post with Livers out or potentially out, and the way Attaway's been playing. I mean, look, I saw him hit a couple threes today. If he shoots the way that, I mean, if he continues to keep that up with the issues potentially on the wing, I mean, Franz Wagner can't deputize in 2 spots. So, I mean, you're gonna have to either put him on Welch or Attaway or Holmes. Like, I think there's a lot of weapons that, and Lofton's such a good point guard, and Osunniyi can battle with Dickinson. I think there's a lot of potential issues. For me, I'm going to go for a lower seeded team with the potential to make the second weekend. I like what Ryan said about Winthrop, but I actually low-key don't mind UCSB.
I agree with that. UC Santa Barbara with Jacory McLaughlin. He's a stud. Very dangerous 12 seed.
Yeah, and I think they'll beat Creighton. I just don't think Creighton's been playing good basketball of late. I know they beat UConn, but then they fell apart against Georgetown. I kind of don't want to pick for Greg McDermott right now anyway. So there's a bit of bias there. And then Virginia, we mentioned there's a potential to get upset. They might not even be at the tournament. I think they'll probably make it. But even still, if they're playing UCSB, you need a guy who can score and a team that can push it. UCSB.
I think I'm probably going to pick Ohio, to be honest. I love Jason Preston. That's a very good 13 seed that played Illinois very, very, very tough in Champaign earlier this year. That's a very trendy 13/4 upset pick.
All right, so the last thing we're going to do here before we kind of pick our Final Four and national champion, who is your dark horse Final Four candidate? I know that Joe and I both alluded to UConn. What are you guys saying?
I'm gonna stick with Purdue. I've said it for a couple weeks now. I'm gonna stick with Purdue. I think they're good enough to give Baylor a lot of problems, even win that game outright in the Sweet 16. I love the way Matt Painter has them playing right now.
What are you guys?
I'm looking at my numbers right now. Hang on.
No worries.
It just finished, so.
Drew's program has been run, so we'll get the full break of everything soon.
Yeah.
So which one are we answering?
Dark horse Final Four contender. I said UConn. You obviously said UConn. The way the bracket aligns for UConn is actually quite nice.
So I'm going to stick with UConn.
All right. Yeah. Drew has a whole percentages on his model.
Yeah. Let's see. Hold on. I need to fix a few things. Real fast.
Texas Tech, Utah State jumps out of me. Both of these teams at a very high level.
Ryan, while he's working on the numbers, do you have anything else that you're taking away from this bracket? What are your most reliable upset picks outside of Winthrop?
Oklahoma State's a very good team, but Liberty, I think, is a tough draw for them. Another 13-4. I think the 13 seeds this year are, for the most part, pretty dangerous. I think going beyond that, UNC Greensboro, Florida State. West Virginia is a 3 seed. Again, Morehead State, I think, is a tough draw. I think Morehead State is a pretty solid 14 seed and could be a threat there. And then I think if we're looking ahead, I think Alabama can get out of that region.
You do. So you don't see UConn topping them?
I do not.
Okay.
I think Alabama's offense is too good.
Fair enough. All right. For me, I think my best upset pick, I mentioned UCSB. I think that Texas Tech dodged a bullet with its 6-11 matchup. I don't dislike Utah State, and their guards are all right, but I don't know if they're enough to trouble Texas Tech's combo of size and athleticism. But even if they win that, I don't see them getting past Arkansas.
I don't either.
I just don't think they can score enough. I like Oklahoma State over Liberty barely, but no, actually, we're looking at this. The Illinois region, Loyola Chicago or Georgia Tech is not a fun matchup. Like
No.
it's not. Do I think Illinois loses that game with the way they're playing? Probably not. But I think it's an insanely tight game, and I think that game becomes a mess. Colorado Georgetown intrigues me. Both of those teams, I think. Obviously, Georgetown's was not supposed to be in the tournament. They're 12. They're playing some of the best basketball in the nation right now. But Colorado, I've never been enthused by Colorado. I know they've got a lot of talent, but they're very up and down. They hit a wall against Oregon State last night. And they almost blew a big lead in the semifinal game before that. So
yeah, I've always thought Colorado was overrated and overhyped.
Yeah, I mean, I think that them as a 5 is interesting. I want to know what you guys think about BYU.
BYU is a 6. I'm not sure I like. I don't dislike them, but I think the winner of that playing game is going to beat them.
So you think even if UCLA wins, they'll beat BYU?
I do.
Okay, fair enough. What are you guys thinking on BYU? Our
Too
favorite
high.
Too high? Yeah, I think they're
7 at most.
Fair enough. I think that they win if it's UCLA. I think Michigan State beats them.
Yeah.
Okay, Drew, do you have an update on the numbers?
I will. Give me 2 minutes.
No worries. Well, Joe, what do you have to say about your Texas institutions?
Well, a lot got in, which surprised me. Texas against Abilene Christian. I honestly think Texas is going to win.
I think that'll be tighter than you think, but I agree.
I'm not saying it's going to be tight. I'm just saying Texas is going to win.
Abilene Christian's good. That's a draw.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not going to be tight. I'm just saying Texas is going to win.
I do think Texas will win.
Yeah, I think Texas will beat whoever comes out of BYU and that one. So I can see them making the Sweet 16. I don't see them beating Alabama, and I can see them beating UConn, but I would put UConn over them.
I would too.
In my bracket just for safety.
Where Ryan and I are going to disagree is I actually have UConn in the Elite Eight. And I'm not just saying that. I am not just saying that because I'm from Connecticut. If anyone knows me, I actually kind of dislike UConn like heavily.
I'm a UConn fan.
I hate UConn. It's
bandwagon.
I think they beat Maryland comfortably. I think Alabama's offense is good, yes, but UConn's one of the better defensive teams in the nation. And Alabama, the thing about them is they're very spotty with their shooting. They will have some games where they go off and other games where they're breaking. I think UConn will make that game a mess. I think Book Knight has a good enough game to power them through. And then Texas, look, I think Texas is really athletic, but they're also spotty. I think they drew a spotty 2 and a spotty 3. And yes, Bama has a good record, but they're when they run into a half decent athletic defense, I think they could struggle. I've got UConn in my Elite Eight. I know it's bold. That's what I'm going. That's my big pick. And then they're playing. This is the Michigan region. Who knows who gets out of the top of that? I remember we joked about Bonaventure, UConn in the Elite Eight. If that happens, that would be really fun. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
I actually have Bonaventure beating LSU in that first round matchup.
Me too.
Barely. 51% to 49% chance. But it's certainly going to be a close match.
And now, so the numbers have loaded. What do we got?
Yes. What would you like to know? Mostly
everything.
We'll run down here. The most likely upset statistically. The 1 seed most likely to get upset. And then we'll do most likely Final Four.
All right. Well, Gonzaga has a 99% chance of winning their first game. So I think that they're probably fine. Baylor comes in at a 96.66. Illinois at 94. and Michigan at 96.93. Unfortunately, I cannot take injuries into account. As we know, Michigan had a fairly sizable injury that kind of is definitely going to harm their team going into March. So I'm still taking it, like, upset wise, Michigan, I think, is the 1 seed 2 upset.
Okay,
Mhm.
and what about first round upsets outside of that? Do you have like an upset in the first round that's loaded for you that you think is the most reliable here?
BYU, 60% chance of winning their first matchup against Michigan State or UCLA. We've been talking about that. I think that that's something that could happen. Colorado, Georgetown. Colorado's being given 68% chance. It's pretty much 1 in 3 for Georgetown there. Loyola Chicago is favored by a good 20% over Georgia Tech. I don't think I'm super surprised. I feel like that's still going to be a super close game, though. Liberty, Oklahoma State 2. Liberty, round 1 and 3. They win. Interestingly, Wisconsin is favored over North Carolina in this by almost 10%. I still think North Carolina wins. They've been hot lately. But probably the most notable thing I've noticed so far is Florida State, about a 10% chance of getting to the Final Four in this. If the only two that are higher than them in their region are Michigan and Alabama, which I think are both upsettable teams.
Fair enough. All right. We'll before we end it off, we're gonna do our prediction for Final Four. So give me your most likely team out of every region, and then national champion from there. So Ryan, I'll throw it to you because you are the bracket man, and then we'll go around the horn.
I've got Gonzaga, Alabama, Baylor, and Illinois. I'm going to go Gonzaga versus Illinois for the title, and I'm going to go Gonzaga winning it all.
All right. This is interesting. I actually will go 3 1 seeds as well. I'll go Gonzaga, Illinois, Baylor, and then I have UConn. I'm fully gonna ride that, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I know that there's always gonna be one team that you don't expect. I don't think it's gonna be 3-1. I think that UConn is that team that potentially comes out of left field. I hope I'm very wrong. This just feels eerily like 2011 and 2014. Granted, I think they actually lost in the American tournament in 2014, but granted they won the Big East in 2011. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but I think Michigan will get upset. And I just don't see anybody who's going to, if the Huskies get rolling, that will stop them. That's my pick. I think there's just too much history behind it. I think then you have Gonzaga beating UConn. Please, Lord. And then I think UConn will play Illinois, or Gonzaga plays Illinois. I think Gonzaga probably wins. What are you guys?
All right. Do y'all just want to pick a number 1 to 10,000 and hear whatever?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Give me a number.
What number?
800.
800. All right. Going to row 800. Your Final Four is Gonzaga, Villanova, San Diego State, and UConn.
I got 2 of them.
Pick 801.
Yeah, I know. Give me one that doesn't
right.
San Diego State and Villanova in it.
USC, Baylor, Clemson, and Michigan.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, though, Gonzaga, they're the only team that has over a 50% chance of getting to the Final Four in this, in my simulator.
Mhm.
Maybe Ohio State if Baylor gets knocked out. I'm going between Baylor and Ohio State on that one. Baylor has a 33% chance in this. Ohio State, 18. Third region, I think that's going to be just a bloody region. maybe Loyola Chicago comes out of that alive. I kind of want to have an upset pick, so Loyola Chicago. They're top 10 in Ken Palm efficiency. I think that could be a team that causes some trouble in that region. Final region, I don't really know. Maybe I'd probably between Alabama and Florida State there. I'd have to give it some more time to think, but
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. Also, the thing about that UConn pick is if the offense goes AWOL, they will be in trouble. I think that they're very reliant on Bouknight for points, and they're going to need Bouknight to be locked in and on his game. And that dude is a borderline lottery pick, but that Creighton game wasn't exactly the best example of vintage UConn in March. So we'll see what happens there. Joe, what do you got?
Let's see. Midwest, I got Illinois. Coming out of the East, I am going to play it safe, and I'm going to say Alabama.
Fair enough.
South, I'm going to say Baylor, but I could see Ohio State coming out of it. Now, you know what? No, I don't see Ohio State. I could see Arkansas coming out of it.
Yeah, I agree.
And the West, I'm going to say Gonzaga for now, but it might change depending on how Kansas plays if they make it to the Elite Eight, depending on how they play through the first 3 games.
And depending on how they have the COVID situation.
That is a part of it, yes, of course, obviously.
All right.
But again, I'm still gonna say Gonzaga is gonna run into a roadblock, and it's gonna be either Iowa or Kansas.
Okay. Good point. Okay. Also, quick note on Ohio State. There were a lot of teams that could have given them problems in the second round. I think that they got a pretty nice draw.
I do too.
I don't think Florida or Virginia Tech, the way they've been playing basketball, gives
No.
them issues. Now, the 3 seed in Arkansas.
Arkansas could give them problems. I think I would pick Arkansas to beat Ohio State.
I would too. And Arkansas could definitely beat Baylor. I just don't know if they're defensively sound enough to.
I don't think so.
Yeah. All right.
One last thing, I guess, for me. One of the most surprising things in the Final Four advancement, Texas Tech, 10% chance. I don't know how that happened, but
I don't think Texas Tech's.
They got to the Final Four and
Mac
found
McClung,
1,000 out of 10,000 sims. So
I think Utah State can beat them with Neemias Queta.
Definitely. I think if they get Santos Silva in foul trouble, that becomes a wreck.
Yeah, and McClung is going to need to be on his A game for that.
Yeah, it's so hard to pick Texas Tech games because McClung is either boom or bust in somebody.
Yeah.
And Shannon too.
You know what I kind of wanted to see?
What did you want to see?
VCU and Texas Tech, because Santos Silva. Yeah.
I wanted to see a Texas Tech Georgetown 5-12 game because of McClung.
It's true. Transfer. That could have been interesting. All right, so
still happen.
The championship.
Yep.
All right, the last question I want to ask everybody. Who is your Final Four most outstanding player?
Going to go Jalen Suggs for Gonzaga.
Nice one. I think I'm gonna go Kispert. Senior leadership. He's a bucket from 3. I think he could have a game where he goes for about 25.
I'm not going to copy off of y'all, so I'm going to go close to home and say Ayo Dosunmu.
Fair enough.
I'm kidding. I'm going Jared Butler.
Okay, also fair enough.
I actually think both of them will be great in March,
All right, what about you, Drew?
Kispert or Timmy from Gonzaga. I don't know. They've just using basic or some advanced metrics on them. They're probably the 2 most, they contribute most to Gonzaga's wins more than any other player on those teams. They're tied for first. So I think that both could.
Yeah, no, very valid point. All right, I'm going to pull up our bracket challenge for those of you who want to join. The Goldmine has a bracket challenge. It is mainly For Davidson students, we're going to try to partner up with the sports management club. I'm going to be in touch with them on Tuesday to try to figure out that one. We will also have our information for the bracket posted on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and everything. Joe Kane, the Facebook god, will help us on that one. I am pulling up the tournament challenge now. Is there anything you guys want to say before we kind of just talk about this last bracket challenge and finish up?
Yeah, always bet on the 9 seed, no matter what. And always pick one 12 seed to win.
Very true. All right, I'm putting the link to the challenge in the chat for those of you who are watching. Billy, my childhood friend, is on the UConn bandwagon. I really feel pain by selecting them, so don't rub it in. All right. The bracket challenge is called it's called TGM Bracket Challenge, and there's a bunch of numbers after it. It's like 2173537. There's a link in the YouTube chat. We'll also put it on our stories and everything. And the password is "the mine never stop," capitals before every word, no spaces. So the mine never stop. I was going to say stops, but I ran out of characters.
I cannot fill out my bracket yet.
Yeah, when does it open? That is the valid
question. 47 minutes and 30 seconds.
For the record, our profile picture for that challenge is the Dick Vitale Pepto-Bismol meme.
Of course.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, so make sure you enter. With that, we're going to call it a day. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to the Goldmine Live broadcast from Selection Sunday. We are looking forward to March Madness once again. Have a good night, everyone. Make sure you check us out on Twitter, Instagram, everything. Ask us whatever questions you